All right, so when you think of St. Patrick's Day, what comes to mind? I'm guessing a sea of green, right? Parades, maybe a shamrock or two. But what if I told you that the real story behind this huge global party is built on a bunch of surprises, a few happy accidents, and a history that's probably way different than what you've always thought?
So, yeah, is it really all about green beer and shamrocks? Just an excuse to wear green and party? Well, not exactly. The holiday we all celebrate today was actually shaped by pure chance, full on rebellions, and some seriously surprising twists of history, many of which didn't even happen in Ireland.
The real story is, well, it's a lot more surprising than you'd think. So, let's dig in. We're going to separate the facts from the fiction and uncover the real, kind of weird history of St. Patrick's Day. Okay, first up, the first parade's secret. This is all about its surprising American origin story. So let's start with maybe the most iconic part of the holiday, right? The parade. And believe me, right off the bat, we hit our first big wait what moment. So let me ask you this. Where do you think the very first St. Patrick's Day parade was held? Go on, take a guess. Dublin, maybe? Cork? Some other famous town in Ireland? That's the obvious answer, for sure. But the real answer is way cooler. Nope, not even close. The very first parade wasn't in Ireland at all. Get this. The first recorded St. Patrick's Day parade happened way back in 1601 in a Spanish colony, a place that we now know as St. Augustine, Florida. Seriously. It took until the late 1700s for the tradition to pop up in New York City, when Irish soldiers in the British Army started marching as a way to feel connected to their homeland. So the parade's origin story is pretty wild, right? But that's not the only surprise. Let's talk about the holiday's original color story. Or as I like to call it, when St. Patrick was blue. Yeah, the most defining part of the day, the color, has its own secret history. I mean, today it's a no-brainer. One color completely defines St. Patrick's Day, and that color is green. Everything is green. Your shirt, the beer, the rivers, it's the Emerald Isle, the shamrock, the whole shebang. You'd get pinched if you were anything else, right? But was green always the color of Ireland? Always the color of this holiday? Well, you can probably guess where this is going. Brace yourself for another history twist, because before green took over, the official color tied to St. Patrick was something else entirely. Believe it or not, the original color was sky blue. Seriously, St. Patrick's blue. It was the official color of an order of knights. So what happened? How did we get to green? Well, that all changed during the Irish Rebellion in the 1790s. Green became this powerful symbol of Irish nationalism and independence. People started wearing shamrocks as an act of defiance. And just like that, the color green went from being just a color to a huge political statement. All right, our next story is about a happy accident in Chicago and the real reason its river turns green. So let's jump to a super famous modern tradition that, keeping with our theme here, basically started by pure chance. You've all seen pictures of this, right? It's one of the most famous images of the holiday, the Chicago River, glowing a brilliant, almost nuclear green. Every year, huge crowds gather to watch it happen. It's an amazing sight, and you just assume it's some grand ancient tradition. But the real story is way less glamorous. Yeah, it was a complete and total accident. Back in 1962, some plumbers were using this special dye to find out where illegal sewage was being dumped into the river. A public health thing. But when they saw the water turn this crazy bright green, someone must have thought, hey, that actually looks pretty festive. And that's how a beloved holiday tradition was born, from a plumbing test. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, let's step back for a second. We've got parades that started in America, a signature color that came from a rebellion, and a famous green river that was a total accident. It's this weird, quirky history that somehow fueled a celebration that has gone absolutely global. We're talking massive parades to world landmarks, all turning green. And when I say the scale is incredible, I'm not kidding. The celebrations go from some of the biggest parades on the entire planet. I mean, just look at New York City. We're talking over 150,000 people marching in the parade. It goes on for hours through Manhattan. It is just a massive, colossal event. All the way down to what used to be the world's shortest. And I love this part. The spirit of the holiday is just as strong at the complete other end of the spectrum. How short are we talking? Just 23 meters. That's it. That's, what, about 75 feet? Super short.
So, what exactly was that 23-meter route? Well, it was the legendary distance between the two pubs in the Irish village of Dripsey. That's right, a pub-to-pub parade. Now, sadly, one of the pubs has since closed down, but the story of that perfectly tiny parade is just legendary.
But these days, the celebration goes way beyond just parades, big or small. Since about 2010, something called the global greening has taken this whole thing to a completely new level. We're talking about the world itself lighting up for St. Patrick's Day.
And I mean, the most famous landmarks on the planet. Picture this, the ancient Colosseum in Rome, glowing a brilliant emerald green.
How about a section of the Great Wall of China? Yep, lit up bright green to celebrate Irish culture. Even the Eiffel Tower in Paris gets in on it, turning totally green for the night. It's amazing.
All of these world icons, turning green for one small island's big day. It's just this incredible visual proof of how one country's national day has truly become a party for everyone, all over the world.
Which really makes you wonder, right? How does a holiday that was born from all these unexpected origins and happy accidents end up capturing the entire world's imagination? You know, maybe that's the secret. Maybe it's that surprising, rebellious, and kind of accidental history that gives it this unique spirit of fun and resilience, a spirit that pretty much anyone, anywhere can get behind.